The elements and the tarot suits. If we use the map of the cosmic egg, see our video Cosmic Egg, 4 of the rings that go to make up the egg are called the elements, and these are in the outward court. The 5th level is usually called the ether level, and ether is not an element. The symbolism is based on heating and cooling water. The vibrational levels of fire, air, water and earth are together called the elements. In Neoplatonic terms, it is called the world soul. Despite the symbolic names, every level is regarded as being terrestrial and not celestial. This Ludo board also shows the elements, despite its shape, and is derived from the Indian game Pachisi. Only the earth level is capable of being perceived with our 5 senses. See our video on reality. And if we see it like Hildegard of Bingen or Asclepius, Hermes Trismegistus, the elements by which the whole of matter has been formed, then are 4: fire, water, air, earth, 1 matter, 1 soul, and 1 God. Who might we meet there? The beings that inhabit this largely invisible area of the egg were called elementals by Rudolf Steiner. This was the realm of the shaman and sorcerer, and although these spirit beings were often useful, they could also be tricky and unreliable. John Cruise, Who's Who in Fairyland. Puck is clearly and solidly male, but Ariel is sexless. In contrast to Puck's cheeky cheeriness, Ariel seems subservient and melancholy. This theme of enslavement perhaps comes from Ariel's origins in Hermetic magic. He is a familiar, a spirit to be conjured and commanded. He is there to do Prospero's will, and lacks any personality or motivation of his own. Both captive Ariel and the conjured spirit are controlled by another's arcane knowledge and skills. Each element has its own type of spirit being. Water systems. The spirit beings that are responsible for water systems are known as nymphs or undines. Air systems. The spirit beings of the air systems were called sylphs. Shakespeare was not very complimentary about elementals in general, describing many of them as capricious, passionate, and irascible. But in The Tempest, the spirit Ariel is enslaved by the sorcerer Prospero. He can fly at incredible speed, with a twink, riding on the clouds and conjuring storms. He can walk on the waves and ride the sharp north wind. He can change his shape. Ariel's dainty and diminutive nature is emphasized by the song he sings in Act 5, Scene 1. William Shakespeare. Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In a cowslip's bell I lie. There I crouch when owls do cry. On the bat's back I do fly. After summer, merrily, 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 shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough. Mineral and rock systems. Spirit beings that are responsible for mineral and rock systems are known as dwarfs, an unfortunate name because we now associate it with people of small stature. The original name was Dwerga. Thomas Keatley, 1789 to 1872, was a historian, educated at Trinity College Dublin, who wrote works on mythology and folklore. He wrote a number of extremely useful and well-researched books on the terrestrial hierarchies, that is, fairies, dwarves, elves and so on, and was an authority on many ancient myths and legends. Thomas Keatley, From the World Guide to Gnomes, Fairies, Elves and Other Little People. These diminutive beings, dwelling in rocks and hills and distinguished for their skill in metallurgy, seem to be peculiar to the Gotho-German mythology. The Rhaegar are described as being of low stature, with short legs and long arms reaching almost down to the ground when they stand erect. They are skillful and expert workmen in gold, silver, iron and the other metals. They form many wonderful and extraordinary things for the Aesir, the gods, and for mortal heroes, and the arms and armour that come from their forges are not to be paralleled. Yet the gift must be spontaneously bestowed, for misfortune attends those extorted from them by violence. Fire systems. The spirit beings that are responsible for fire systems are known as salamanders, not to be confused with the endearing little physical creatures. These are seen as a sort of lizard in some visions and out-of-body experiences, but the image is manufactured for us. Aboriginal art is full of them. The Dogon in Africa, for example, venerated them as creators. The other name given to these powerful spirit beings is the fire being, because these systems are found at the fire level. Other classes. Microorganism systems. The spirit beings responsible for bacteria and the vast number of cell-based organisms we cannot see are called gnomes. There are a truly vast number of types of gnome. Virus systems. The spirit beings responsible for each of the vast numbers of viruses are called goblins. There is presumably a flu goblin and a hepatitis goblin and a common cold goblin. The herpes goblin is everywhere. I jest. Interestingly, these do have an image because they are physical and none too pleasant to look at. Thus the template image of both goblins and gnomes has been seen in visions and out-of-body experiences. Plant systems. There is a differently named spirit being for each of the different types of plants. Fungi, mushrooms, ferns and mosses are controlled by elves. Flowering trees, shrubs and flowers are controlled by fairies. Animal and insect systems are managed individually by higher spirits and collectively by different intelligences, one for each type of insect, bird, reptile, fish and mammal, etc. Only animals, insects, birds, reptiles, humans and other mammals have a higher spirit. Individual plants or viruses, bacteria, minerals and gases don't have consciousness of their own. They are managed by spirit beings which do have their own consciousness. It therefore follows that only animals have a higher spirit. Correspondences. The elements each have a corresponding colour and pattern, and these can be found in many Mesoamerican buildings as well as the architecture of Romanesque churches. This chart shows the colours and the patterns used. The elements and the Tarot Minor Arcana. The suits in the tarot correspond to the elements. Thus, discs, The discs are earth. Cups are water. Swords are air. And wands are fire. The playing card suits derived from these are spades, clubs, hearts and diamonds. The traditional Kabbalah Rosicrucian based tarot suits are batons, wands, swords, cups and coins. In modern tarot decks, however, the batons suit is often called wands, rods or staves, while the coins suit is often called pentacles or discs. The entire tarot is thus an allegory of the spiritual path, where the players in the minor arcana work their way up, helped by the gods of the major arcana. Some cards are labelled by showing the sorts of problems they may come up against in their battle to be a king or queen. Rider-Waite just uses pictures to signify either the virtues or the vices, but Aleister Crowley made a brave attempt to label the cards with attributes he regarded as positive virtues or negative vices, blocks to progress. Aleister Crowley's discs: earth, cups, water, Aleister Crowley's swords suit, Aleister Crowley's wands, fire. However, this is too many to show in a playlist. Furthermore, as we have seen in the video The Symbolism of Ash, who is to judge? Overall, Ovid Metamorphoses from the creation of the world, before the seas and this terrestrial ball, and heaven's high canopy that covers all. One was the face of nature, if a face, rather a rude and indigested mass, where God or nature, while they thus contend, to these intestine discords put an end. Then earth from air, and seas from earth were driven, and gross air sunk from ethereal heaven. Thus, disembroiled, they take their proper place, the next of kin, contiguously embrace, and foes are sundered by a larger space. The force of fire ascended first on high, and took its dwelling in the vaulted sky. Then air succeeds in lightness next to fire, whose atoms from an active earth retire. Earth sinks beneath, and draws a numerous throng of ponderous, thick, unwieldy seeds along. About her coasts unruly waters roar, and rising on a ridge insult the shore. Thus, when the god, whatever god was he, had formed the whole and made the parts agree, that no unequal portions might be found, he moulded earth into a spacious round.